The Kansas City Chiefs win a big game on Sunday Night Football over the Detroit Lions, and that offense is looking much better after the first 3 weeks of the season. The last 3 weeks, they've been averaging over 30 points a game. Mahomes is looking like MVP Mahomes. And look, 2 of the last 3 weeks, he played the Ravens, who have a terrible defense, and last night, the Lions. Their secondary is super injured. They're missing like 5 of 6 starting defensive backs or whatever, or defensive backs in general. So that's bad for them, obviously. That's not good. And Mahomes was, of course, going to pick apart that defense because he is a very good quarterback. That being said, I know a lot of people want to talk about the Chiefs and the penalties. Obviously, the Chiefs had more than 0 penalties and they didn't get called, for sure. But Detroit only had 4 penalties, and I can name 3 off the top of my head. You have the penalty on the touchdown pass to Goff, and they were saying on the broadcast that that's an illegal play. It needed to be called back. It needed to be a penalty, and I'm going to trust them on that was a legit penalty that had to be called. And then after that, you also get the late hit on Mahomes from Hutchinson, and that was like 2 seconds after he threw the ball. You cannot do that. That is an insane late hit on a quarterback. That's not just a Mahomes thing. That would have been called a hit on any quarterback. Any quarterback, that would have been called. That has to be called. The NFL wants quarterbacks to be healthy. That is going to be called 100% of the time. And then the third one I can think of is that hold on Kelsey. It was definitely a hold. That being said, it looked like the refs were letting them play all game, both sides of both teams. So maybe you say, hey, that one doesn't need to be called. That's fine. But still, it's not like there's this huge penalty discrepancy. And I know that the Chiefs should have had penalties called against them, but it was 4 penalties to 0 penalties. And at least 2 of those penalties were apparently very deserved. So it realistically would have been 2 other penalties to 0. So I'm not super worried about that. The Chiefs just kind of dominated this game. They took over. That defense really got a lot better throughout the game after those first 2 series where they did not look good at all. And the offense was definitely clicking. Detroit's going to be just fine. They're going to start to get guys back after a little bit. Obviously, Branch being gone for a little bit is going to be a problem because he's an idiot and hit someone after the game. That being said, they're going to start to get guys back. They're going to be totally fine, so don't worry about that. But for everyone else in the NFL, the scary thing about this game is the Chiefs starting to look like the Chiefs, and that offense starting to look like a real Chiefs offense, and Mahomes starting to play like an MVP.